We have now interrupted your regularly scheduled programming to bring you.
All right, so welcome back to another installment of the Warheads. I'm Apocalypto Joe.
I'm Roscoe Brown.
I'm Silk Threads.
And I'm Knuckles.
And as usual, we like to encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe, hit that bell notification. That being said, we're here to talk about manipulation. As Webster defines it, it is the action of manipulating something in a skillful manner, the action of manipulating someone in a clever or unscrupulous way. But as we know, sometimes manipulation can feel good, especially in the beginning. A woman, she's telling you all the sweet things, a man telling you all those sweet things, and it does feel good. But we know that manipulation ultimately has a diabolical end to it. So I ask you guys a question. Have you ever manipulated anybody? Have you ever been manipulated?
Well, I can honestly say that I've been manipulated before. I want to say that maybe all humans have been manipulated before, so yeah, there's that on a whole scale level. I think we all have, but yeah, no, I've been manipulated before, and I've maybe manipulated a person or two before, whether it be consciously, subconsciously, whatever the case may be. But I tend to think that there's always some sense of manipulation happening, because manipulation to me is only about trying to get someone to conform to your way or your way of doing things.
What if your way is a wicked way of doing things?
Well, I didn't say, I didn't define whether it was wicked or not wicked, but it's just it's just the case of manipulating things to your advantage. But yeah, it could be to an evil end, to a good end, whatever the case may be. So it could be either or. But yeah, it's just about trying to get that person to kind of see it your way or go your way, increase your advantage, if you will, So I think all situations kind of have any bit of that going on. But for me, I think that if you're being honest with somebody, because you can actually be honest with a person and still manipulate that person.
Go deeper.
If you, again, like I said, the whole end of it is to gain an advantage, if you will. So you can tell a person whatever the situation may be, whatever the truth is in that situation, and still be telling them with the knowledge that this information is still going to benefit you more so than anybody else in the end. So like I said, I just think that there's some sense of manipulation in everything, but I just think that it all kind of depends on the person who's in the driver's seat of that so-called manipulation, and whether they have an evil intent or not.
So,
Well, man, I look at manipulation like the dirty eight because there's typically 8 types of manipulation. There's the one that Roscoe was just explaining about where, it's used for a relationship or something like that. But then, you also got passive aggressive behavior. You got implicit threats. You have dishonesty. You have withholding information. You have isolating a person from their loved ones. You also have gaslighting. You got verbal abuse. And then the use of sex to achieve goals. And those 8 types of manipulation is what we go through every day. Every day, like you said, Sco, it is an everyday activity for someone to try to better their predicament. And be it as an entrepreneur or even somebody that's going to work every day, you know, as a worker, you go to work, your boss is going to try to manipulate you through the day. Hey, can you do this little extra work? Hey, I need you to train this new person on your job that I'm gonna actually fire you for in about 2 weeks once they learn what the hell they supposed to do. Thanks for training your replacement.
That's
But
cold. Right.
you know, and then you have your woman where you haven't been doing what you're supposed to do around the house, and she's withholding sex as a weapon for your complicity to her demands. And then there's more people like me. I'm passive aggressive. I that's just not. I'm an alpha passive aggressive ass person. So in just that, it's understanding that that's manipulation itself to be able to. Everybody's trying to better themselves. So you can take offense to the manipulation, or you can see it coming and understand that this is not a toxic situation that's trying to go down. This person needs whatever he can think they can get out of me. So if I already know that, then I won't be surprised or be put off or manipulated because I made a conscious choice to walk that walk that I seen a person coming with, pretty much. So
What about you, Chris?
Well, manipulation. Considering that our United States government uses it against us often, just about every day, all day, 24/7 a day. Well, my opinion with this is something that we got to live with. Considering that this country was based off manipulation. Everything we do, everything we buy, everything we purchase is some type of manipulation. When you go to buy your local gym shoes and you negotiating or manipulating, trying to get them shoes for a lower price, or they're doing it vice versa, telling you these are the best shoes ever, and they're trying to get that top price, we are pretty much born with manipulation, whether it's good or bad. We got to deal with it. It's just something we got to live with.
I agree. I guess when I think of manipulation, just considering the condition of the world, we're more so on the wicked, evil side of being manipulated in our interpersonal relationships by the government, as Knuckles brought up. And that's why I'm looking at it in the light of being bad. Very rarely, maybe a parent might try to manipulate a child into eating their vegetables, which will benefit the child. But we know those benign types of manipulation are rare. What did you call them? The evil eight? Silk? Your mic is off.
my bad. Yeah, I told him the evil eight. We can call it the evil eight. It really didn't have a name, but I just know it's them bad eight.
So the evil eight are actually psychopathic traits that you believe it or not.
That's true.
But I was thinking because do any of you guys watch The Shy? The
Yeah, I
show
watch
The Shy?
it. Yep.
Watch some of it, a little bit.
So there's these characters on there, and this was like a hell of a manipulation because of what it resulted in. So it's this character named Ronnie Davis on there, and he was involved with this woman named Tracy Burrow. And Tracy's son was murdered in the first season. She proceeded to use overly emotional manipulation to provoke Ronnie, who was her ex at the time, to get vengeance for her son being killed. Ronnie then proceeds to fall into her well-laid emotional manipulation trap, or whatever the case may be.
Use of sex to get those.
And then he goes on to kill some young boy named Charles, who he only thought was responsible for Tracy's son being killed. I guess this is one of those times how they always say, vengeance is mine, says the Lord, I will repay. Sometimes we don't see the whole chessboard, and it's probably best to like wait things out. Anyway, moving fast forward to season three, Tracy and Ronnie, they start to get closer to one another again. And one of the friends of Charles comes, blow Ronnie's brains out, or whatever the case may be. And Tracy moves on, season four, doesn't bat an eye, and now she's boning the mayor. So now Ronnie was manipulated to doing this bad thing, killing an innocent boy. And now the woman that he thought was going to be his again, his ex, she's off next. And it just shows you how if he had just stood his ground, if he had stood for something, was like, let's let this play out before I go putting my life in danger and murdering someone else, he would still be alive and he would still have, well, maybe he wouldn't have his woman because it doesn't seem like Tracy is a very scrupulous individual anyway. But she's off to the next. She's having sex with the mayor, getting $5 million grants. She's doing all this stuff. And Ronnie is just in the grave rotting, all because he was manipulated by a woman that he once loved. And the worst part about it, the boy wasn't even his. So when I think about manipulation, I always think of the evil side, the covert abuse, the verbal abuse, the physical abuse. You know, you can physically manipulate somebody by threatening them. Right. And making them do things that they don't want to do. And so when I take that into consideration, how do you guys think is a good way to avoid being manipulated in an evil way or by means of the evil eight, as Silk brought up
earlier? That's quite the question, because I think Knuckles already said it. We've already become accustomed to a society where we're so comfortable in that manipulation. You know, like Knuckles said, like the way things are marketed to us is a huge manipulation. Excuse me. You know, so when given that, it's hard to escape the manipulation when fashion, food, everything that we need in our society is marketed to us in a way that's almost a sort of control. It almost has some levels of socialism in there almost. You know what I mean? But there's a control that's happening to the masses, the way things are pushed out and marketed, you know, and again, it's a part of the manipulation, but it's going to be hard for us to get away from that because it's a part of our everyday, and the things media will push out will just, if let's say we were in the mindset to go against the thread of manipulation, we be fighting, we're kind of climbing an uphill or fighting an uphill battle rather, because of the everyday pushback we're getting because of the imagery and everything else that'll go against what we're preaching and what we're saying and how we think. You know, so it's almost it's one of those battles that's hard to see somebody winning in that fight, actually, for me.
Before we go deeper, because I know I did ask a very layered question. We were having a discussion off camera about the PPP loans. And I want you guys to go a little bit deeper with the consequences of not being greedy and what's going to happen. Silk, I'll throw this to you because I know you're very well informed on this information.
Man, listen, I can't tell nobody how to get no money. Whatever you got to do to get your money, that's what you do. But you got to understand that this conversation is manipulation because the government manipulated y'all to throw away your life for 20,000. Some got over and got 40. Some got 80. Some got, I know somebody got 120. But What you do with your money is your business. How you get your money is your business. And the price you have to pay for getting that will also be your business. You know what I'm saying? So, but it all circles back to manipulation. You know, some might did it out of greed, some did it out of necessity, you know, some did it out of curiosity. But all of those killed the cat eventually. And Fed time is all time. You do all of that. And they not gonna come to you so you think you're gonna beat the case, because the feds don't work like that. When the feds come at you, their case is already solid. You're going to jail. There's really not much you can work out without probably a 100,000 plus lawyer.
Ain't no working it out with the feds.
It
Ain't
really
no,
ain't, is it?
ain't no
If
working
some
it out with the feds.
a few got
You,
away, but they
yeah,
was
you,
stupid rich though. I'm
yeah,
thinking money paid for that.
yeah, no, maybe, yeah,
You
yeah.
know what
But
I'm
I mean, you
saying?
said it already. Like
But when
once the feds on your ass, it's over with.
when they
Well,
come, they come in and they. Oh, let me state this because I get this a lot. There's not enough jails. They can't lock everybody up. They will build brand new jails in every state in America to lock all y'all up because that's income for the state. You don't understand. You are a commodity. If the government could put 80% of y'all, 80% of us in jail and keep us there indefinitely as a commodity, because you know, once you get a felony by constitutional right, you become a slave again. So, and that's in the Constitution. So y'all can read that. But that's
13th
the only way
Amendment.
you could. Then, what? Say it again. Which amendment?
13th Amendment.
Oh, the famous 13th, right? The one everybody really don't
The,
read.
the,
They don't
inf-
read the bottom part.
the infamous 13th Amendment.
Excuse, am I wrong? That's the one with the free, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's the amendment that tells you you're free, right?
Correct.
But way down at the bottom of that motherfucker, it say, hey, but if you get a felony, you become a slave again, right?
Right.
Why they don't read that part in school?
Because of manipulation.
Because of
yeah, well,
manipulation.
there's a
And
lot of
we
parts.
circle right back. What you got, Nup?
There's a lot of parts to that loan. The loan from the very beginning is a setup on two parts. Well, in this case, when Silk is right about one thing, they are trying to make you into a slave, but a new form slave. Now they've been for the eons making big money off us going to jail.
And we'll
This is
continue.
right, but this is something different. This is submission. Think about this. You have more poor people than it is rich people. And how do you get poor people to submit? By giving them something shiny. That PPP loan, they get you both ways. If you conning the government about, okay, I'm an astronaut and I got 50,000 people behind me and I need this amount of money, people don't realize that this is just like a car. If they finance you for 50,000, they'll finance you for 50,000. So when you get 50,000, you really owe 100,000. If you get 100,000 and they finance you for 100,000, you really owe 200,000. Now, in this case, the best thing they can do is send you to jail. That means once they send you to jail, ain't no paying back, ain't no restitution, none of that. You do your jail time, you get out broke. But there's another way they can do worse things by ruining your name. They can ruin you where you can't get no government assistance, you can't get a job, you can't do nothing. That is worse when you have a family and nobody gets the chance to eat. Your whole family has been marked for death, pretty much. You know, your name is dead, it's mud. You know, so that's a lot worse than being incarcerated, because you got programs where you get out where if you've been in jail, they'll help you out. In this case, messing with the government's money, you won't get that help. So I tell my black people out here, don't jump so quick to get that loan, because the key word is loan.
No, they say it's a grant.
You say that again?
They scream it's a grant. But
Right.
it say loan, but they say it's a grant because somebody said they said it was a grant.
Now I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna leave it alone. We live in a country who specialize, not just specialize, but they founded this country on murder. They founded this country on treachery, manipulation, rape, all that. They did something that Hitler couldn't do. They have degraded a species, a race. So trust and believe, here it is present day, that these guys are not out here to help us. It's some other way of manipulation and control. So don't be foolish. All I can tell you is, if you get the loan and you know you're doing dirt, you make sure you get 3 things. 1 is a very good lawyer, because they're going to catch you for sure. The second thing is, make sure you move all your bank accounts to Peru, Afghanistan, Iraq, where they don't do expediting of your funds. The number 1 thing, if you don't want to get caught, go to Iraq, Iran, Turkey, Pakistan, say goodbye to the United States, because there's no statutes. Excuse me. There's no statutes of limitations on this. So if you ain't doing either one of those 3, and you out here buying cars and jewelry and things like that, you can't wear that in the booty house. Sorry.
The booty house. That being said, it sounds like to me what you guys are talking about is people see the cheese, but they don't see the trap. But on an individual level, and I'll just state this, is 5 things that I looked up on how to keep from being manipulated on an individual level. We can't control the government. Most people are trapped in the matrix and pull you in on a daily. But on an individual level, there are a few things that you can do if you don't want to be manipulated. There are some people who want to be, but we'll talk about that before we go out. Number 1, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. People who have no personal constitution, they're always easily manipulated. They always see the shiny thing, kind of like Shaka Zulu. He was easily manipulated because when the Dutch came and the British came with the little trinkets for him, what did he do? He fell right in line with the manipulation and gave up all that land in Akubalan, Africa as they call it. Seeking approval from others. Lack of self-validation. When you need to be validated by others, once again, you're easily manipulated, because all they got to come with is the validation, and they can breadcrumb you for the manipulation just because you don't know how to self-validate. Being indebted to someone, as we talked about, can cause you to be manipulated. So stop accepting gifts. There's no such thing as for nothing. A lot of people walking around with their hands out. Ain't nothing wrong with hard work. How can I earn it? Having that mentality keeps you from being manipulated and keeps people from running roughshod over you. Michael Green, the 4th law and the 48 laws of power. He says, always say less than necessary. Talking too much to an enemy posing as a friend can give them inside information on your inner workings. Sometimes just shut up. There's nothing wrong with being quiet around people, not telling them what your innermost desires are, because people are listening, manipulators in particular. And number 5, avoid lazy people, as they always ask you to do something that they can always do themselves. I just want to say, your mama was a manipulator when she was when your mama was laying in the bed and she said, baby, hand me that remote right there. She knows she could have got her ass up to get that remote.
She was a manipulator.
I know you don't want to hear this, but your mama was a manipulator.
Master manipulator.
Grand wizard.
Oh my God! Little did we know we was being manipulated into being remote controls.
Grown into manipulation. Man.
So
Everything is manipulation, man.
And so the goal at the end of the day is to be like Pinocchio when he finally became a boy, when he said those famous words, "I got no strings on me."
Yeah.
Did y'all have anything to shout out, promote, anything?
No. No, go ahead, Silk. I'm sorry.
I bet. Hit me up on Instagram and Facebook at Silk Threads and Silk Threads Clothing. That's SILKTHRE with a DZ.
Roscoe?
Well, I just want to say like, comment, and subscribe, and share our content on the Warheads channel. You know, that's Warheads with an X. Don't forget that. You know, come over, comment on the pages, on the shows. You could say whether or not you like them. You could call me an asshole. I will readily comment right back, and come right back at you with my debate ears ready, with my debate fingers ready. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, no, come on over. Knuckles, what about you, man?
All I can say is, my brother, it's an honor to be on here with you cats, man. I'm having so much fun.
Oh, we gonna have you on some more of these, man. It was a pleasure having you on, bro. Like real shit, man. Like Knuckles is one of our brothers, man. We go back like we like 30-year dudes, man. And I know that make us sound old, but we not. You know, we aging like wine over here. You know what I mean?
I know, right?
You know, but yeah, no, he's one of our long-standing brothers, and I just want to say I love this dude, and this is something that we talked about like months in it, like almost a year ago, and it's just a pleasure to have you on. Real shit.
Oh, man, it warms my heart, my brother.
Welcome to the family, bro.
Thank you, sir.
Warheads out.